guys, welcome to the fucking booty base. In today's video, we are going to be exploring through one of my fucking favorite training tools of all time, and that is the landmine. The landmine essentially is just a barbell that is shoved into an apparatus that allows it to come up so that it can go oosh on this angle, and you can use it for a variety of different things. And it's really great for total body training. But today, we're gonna be showing you through 5 of my favorite exercises for the glutes. Now, this means that we're actually gonna be leaving out a lot of other incredible exercises, but I wanted to show you a few of my favorites and also ones that are gonna be targeting the glutes in a variety of different areas. We're also gonna go through and show you how you can set it up if you don't actually have an attachment like this, which is pretty fucking simple. So let's get into the video and let's start building that booty with your landmine. First things first, guys, before we get into the exercise, I wanted to quickly show you how you can actually set this up. Now, down here at the booty base, we have a whole variety of different like little landmine attachments which go into a bumper plate like these. These are fantastic because they're portable, they swivel from side to side, and they're really, really good. And I'm sure that if you search up landmine attachment, that you can find one somewhere online. Also, a lot of gyms will actually have a landmine attachment which is actually already set up in the on the squat rack, or they might even have a T-bar machine in which you can actually replicate this with as well. But if you don't have access to any of that, maybe you're training from home, as long as you've got a corner, then you can just do this. There you go, guys. All you need is a corner to be able to stabilize, maybe chuck a pillow or a towel or something in there to be able to make sure that you're not going to scuff up the walls, and then your landmine is ready to go for whatever it is that you want to fucking do. All right. Our first exercise on the list is going to be a landmine reverse lunge. Now, myself and a lot of the booty base babes absolutely love this exercise. It's fantastic for really, really targeting, getting that stretch on those lower glutes. Now, again, this exercise is fantastic because you can actually build it up to be really, really heavy. But we actually, you know what, let me quickly interject. We actually have Alana Longbottom down here at the booty base who's done, what was it, how much was it, Jerry? 100 fucking kilos on a deficit. Jerry, play the fucking footage of Alana doing that. And as you can see, it is an incredible exercise to actually get really, really strong if you do decide to perform these and if you do enjoy it. But it is a little bit tricky to actually get up into position. So I'm quickly gonna show you how we can do that. First things first is, it's probably nice to have a nice push and cushion available to be able to put on the edge just so you have that extra bit of comfort for your shoulder. From here, we're gonna come on like so, and then we lift this bad boy up. We're gonna come down into a clean position, so back and down from the hips, and then explode up, walk in, and then catch like so. Obviously, it requires a little bit of coordination, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. Again, the good thing about this exercise is you can build it up and get really strong. The bad thing is, when you get really strong, you're gonna need someone to probably help you to actually bring that weight up. But let's talk about why this exercise is so fucking awesome and why I actually prefer it to a regular reverse lunge. You see, the landmine makes it a lot more of a hip dominant movement because as I step back, the weight is pushing me and forcing my hip back and down and challenging my hip joint a lot more than it would be if I was standing upright and coming straight down, where I'm getting a little bit more loading through my knee joint. So you'll probably find that, yeah, your quads are getting a little bit of work with this one, but your glutes will light up like crazy. And it's all because we have that angled direction coming down into that stretch, and right now I can feel that epic contraction right there in the glutes. Up, through, just like so. And we can also make these harder by elevating ourselves on the surface and getting even deeper into a more range of motion, or we can make it harder by doing an additional quarter at the bottom, and that way you don't have to lift quite as heavy, but you can keep more time under tension down in that lengthened phase, up, pause, and making sure we're not really using too much energy from that back leg. We're just tapping down, pushing all the way through this heel, drive, down, up, and through. And one more thing, guys, okay, I just want to let everybody know, you're probably going to ask, which side should I put the landmine on? Should I put it on the opposite arm or opposite shoulder to the working leg? Or do I put it on the same side, like this? The answer is, try both and see what feels great for you. For me, this feels super awkward and I hate it. There's a lot of girls at the booty base who actually prefer it and they think that this, which feels really comfortable for me, feels super awkward and uncomfortable for them. So play around with either or and see what you like best. All right. Well, that's one lunge variation out of the way. And if you thought that one was weird and wacky, then just you wait until we explore this one, which is the Landmine Zercher Curtsy lunge. Now, this exercise is fantastic for getting a really big lateral stretch on the glutes, which is something that's pretty hard to do with a lot of traditional movements. But because we have that angled resistance, it feels really great. And once you nail the technique, it actually feels really stable, as awkward as it looks. So, what we're gonna do is grab this bad boy, and we're gonna stand up, and we're gonna come up into what we call a Zercher position, where we're holding the weight up across our chest like this. You can crisscross your arms or do whatever you like, and I recommend doing this with a bumper plate. The reason being is you want to be able to lean your body weight into it just like you have a machine, but also if you are going to do this, make sure that whatever you have here is going to be behind an actual like strong, sturdy surface. Otherwise, you're going to go flying across with the weight as you drive your body weight into it. Now, from here, we're gonna let the machine, or we're gonna make sure we're standing on an angle, we can't be upright, lean into the machine, and then from here, step our leg behind, come all the way down onto that deep stretch, and right now I'm feeling all through here. Still trying to make sure that knee is aligned with the toe, but we get that deep stretch to the side, drive up, and it doesn't finish there. We actually get to come through, and now we can get an active abduction inwards, kind of like a sideline clam raise, by coming through, and now we're getting a little bit of a squeeze on the glutes after we get that additional stretch. Ordinarily, at the top of a lunge, squeezing your glutes doesn't really do that much, but because we're on that lateral angle and coming into an abduction movement, it feels kind of nice to finish that extra movement with that little pop at the end. Again, quite an awkward movement, so make sure you really take the time to get the technique right, but if you do, you're gonna be getting that nice stretch on the bottom side part of your ass. All right. Next up, we are coming in for our single leg and our B stance landmine hip thrusts. Those first two exercises got a really good stretch on the glutes, but this time we're going to be focusing on hitting the glutes in end range hip extension and really focusing on getting that squeeze, which is going to be hitting the entire glute, but also giving a little bit more love and attention to the upper glutes as well. So we're going to be coming into a position and resting on a box or bench, ideally something that's going to be resting just underneath your shoulder blades. From here, make sure that you can roll that barbell up and over your hips, which means you're going to need to use a bumper plate for this bad boy as well. Now, I'm only using 10 kilos of this, but do not be alarmed. Okay, you can actually get these pretty strong and progressively overload these up to be quite a strong movement. Now from here, wriggling back into position and just find a spot that feels comfortable for you. Everybody's a little bit different as to where they like kind of placing that bad boy. And from here, it's as simple as hinging up, coming back, and then back down. Now, one tip with your single leg hip thrust is, if you follow me, you know that I like to promote both a scoop and a hinge method when we thrust. Now, as you can probably see with that, the scoop doesn't really look quite right when you're doing a single leg hip thrust. So it's actually probably better to be doing more of a hinge method where we actually rock our entire body off the board, off the box like a board, squeeze, and then come all the way back down. Now you might think to yourself, holy fuck, this is really gonna be hard with this big barbell and this big weight plate on his hip. How is he balancing? How is he stabilizing? But that is one of the many amazing reasons why I love the hip thrust, is because this is now not the only point of contact on the ground. We also have the barbell that's resting on the ground over here. So there's a lot more stability. The issue with a regular single leg hip thrust is it's really hard to put a heavy dumbbell on your hip because one, it feels uncomfortable, and two, it really throws you off with your balance. With a landmine, you can actually get a considerable amount of weight on here, thrust up, and really challenge it while still feeling super balanced. But if you do find that it is still a little bit tricky and you're not quite feeling it or you're not quite ready to be able to go that heavy, you can always do a B stance where you have your foot around about in line with your toe, turn out to the side, and this is an additional kickstand for you to be able to use, so you can really focus on getting that feel getting extra stability and really squeezing the working glute. We're keeping about 70% of our weight in this leg and just that 20-30% over here just to add that stability. All right, unos, dos, tres, time for cuatro. And now we're coming on in for a single leg landmine RDL. One of my favorite Romanian deadlift variations. However, just before we get into it, it is very challenging and very hard on the grip, especially for females who have smaller hands and find it hard to grip their hand around a big thick barbell on the edge like this, when instead of the actual regular barbell, which is a lot thinner and easier to hold. So you have two options. One, you can either buy yourself a landmine attachment. I'm not too sure what these are called, but they just come on, you can tighten them up, and then you have a regular attachment like this. They come in all different shapes and sizes. Just type in landmine single hand grip or something like that, and something like that will probably come up. Alternatively, you can just grab a strap and we can come through, and I've got it on the wrong hand, but that's okay. Coming through, and then now you come under, wrap around, and then this should hopefully take care of any grip problems that you have because you're nice and tight and secured on the barbell. All right. Now we're all tied up, let's get into the execution. So, one of the reasons why I actually love the landmine so much is for the same reason I really love the landmine Hipthrust, is because it gives you additional stability with the extra point of contact on the ground. So you can actually load these up pretty heavy and really challenge yourself a lot more than you probably would be able to with a dumbbell. So, from here, I want to make sure that we have our hand closest to the barbell, on the barbell, leg furthest away from the barbell, on the ground as the working leg. You can do it the other way, but this is my preference. I think it feels much better. From here, we want to have a really slight bend of the knee, and then we push the hip back all the way as far as we can, trying to get that big stretch on the glutes and hamstrings. And if you feel like you're getting a little bit off balance, just shift yourself into the machine, and it feels nice to be able to keep you nice and stable. One more thing you can do for stability is make sure that with this back leg, you're actually going to extend it out like you're doing a kickback or trying to kick the back wall. And that will give you a little bit more leverage to be able to get that deep stretch and hold that nice length of position, because you have a little bit more balance available. And also you can put your hand out to the side like this, focus on that big stretch back, boom, pull through and squeeze. Now, one last thing you can also play around with is actually making it a little bit of an angled RDL. Right now, I'm in line with the actual RDL itself, but if I turn myself just slightly this way, and instead of shifting directly back, I shift my hips this way to the side, I'm gonna get that lateral stretch on the glutes, just like I was with those landmine curtsy lunges. So from here, same thing, but I'm gonna shift back in this direction and then come through like that, drive the knee up and into that abduction, and then take the stretch back, which runs really well with the fibers of the glutes, oosh, and come through like that. It's less traditional, but it's just an angle you can play around with if you want to start to experiment and explore movement even more. Oh, my ass. I'm burning up. But ladies and gentlemen, we're only 4 down, and I promise you number 5. And this last one is an exercise which is actually quite similar to the last part of that angled RDL. And I don't know whether I invented this exercise, but I've actually never seen it done before. So I'm gonna claim that I invented it. I haven't even really properly named it, but I guess it's a landmine hip raise or a landmine abduction. And really, all we're doing is grabbing the landmine, coming up and resting it on our hip here. Now, in the last variation, we were focusing on getting that big stretch back and then up. Then we turned it in to go to the side, and we came through and we had a little bit of a squeeze. However, this time we're focusing less on the stretch, still getting a little bit, but we're really trying to focus on targeting just that upper outer portion of the glute in the glute medius, okay? Now what we do here is bring this leg up so we can balance and support the landmine. From here, we're gonna shift our hips back and down to the side, like so. And then we drive up forcefully into abduction and squeeze all through that glute like so. Coming back and down, stretch, up, through and squeeze. Keeping the knee angle pretty much the same. Stretch, pause, drive up forcefully and squeeze. And it's kind of like doing a sideline clam raise, except this time we get to really load it up with the landmine, and we get to really focus on shifting it directly back into that angle of the glute med, running with those fibers so we get that deep stretch. Oos. And I can tell you right now, I'm gonna have to start doing these more often because I've just done about 15 reps in the demo. My ass is burning. Alright guys, that is our landmine video done for a wrap. I am a little bit sweaty and a little bit stanky, and it's time for me to get the motherfucking heck out of here. But those were 5 incredible landmine exercises. I probably could have added another 10 or 15 amazing ones just for the glutes alone. So I want you to join the conversation and comment below and let me know what are some of your favorite landmine exercises. And while you're there, well, you might as well go and do me a favor. I want you to go like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and ladies and gentlemen, you know what they say. YouTube, what?